And hello again, welcome YouTube to this video. Welcome fellow YouTubers, whoever's watching. Hello. So today we want to talk more about cloud storage. So this is the last video. Just want to emphasize that you can find all the links, in the description below. You'll see all the stuff I'm using, some of the commands I use as well. You can take a look at there. I'll be posting something similar in this video as well. So do look in the description for additional links and comments and where you can find other useful resources as well. Okay, so without further ado, I'll continue. Alright, I'll continue my discussion. So today, I just deleted the old folder, okay, for demonstration purposes, the temporary folder for Rclone. So I just deleted it off because I kind of showed you most of the features already. So today, I'm going to talk about a little bit more features about Rclone, and I want to show you something interesting, especially for those who do dual boot. Okay, but so just go through some of that. But for the rest who don't dual boot, who are using purely Linux Mint, this is just you can skip about a few minutes ahead. You will find content that's relevant to you. Or so you can just skip ahead, but for those and then you'll find content that's relevant for Rclone as well, whether or not you dual boot. Okay, for those who dual boot, this is just about 1 minute. All right. Okay, let's say you have a Google Drive folder in your Windows directory, and you don't want to spend extra space making another copy of your entire Google Drive directory, even though strictly speaking you can. Okay, so what do you do with it? So actually what you can do is you go to Windows, alright, your Windows file, you mount it. Okay, so you go to computer, you go to devices, you should see your Windows partition there. So go to your Windows partition, find your Google Drive file. So usually you might place it somewhere else. I actually place it in my users and then my username, and where I'll find my Google Drive folder is here. So this is where you'll have all your backup and sync stuff. And if you open this up, you'll find every single Google Drive file that you want. I mean, this is your own personal folder, obviously. So what can you do with this? Can I use Rclone over here? Absolutely. So what you do to make it convenient for yourself, okay, I'm just going to delete this off because that's my own setup. What you can do is you press Ctrl Shift and Alternate, and you drag this Google Drive folder here. And what you're actually doing is you're making a shortcut, so that when you open this up, you will see that you will have your Google Drive folder opened up. So no problem. It's a very good way of using Rclone. Alright, so if I go to, let's say, the same folder where I have this thermal hydraulics folder with all my videos over there, I will see it right here. Okay, so now this is a point where you don't really need to bother whether or not you dual boot. This is just for those who want to save space. But now I will carry on the part of the tutorial that says, okay, whether or not you dual boot doesn't really matter. This is just dealing with your Rclone folder. Okay, so what can you do? Okay, what can you do? All right, so let me log on to my Google Drive, and you'll see I fast forward the whole login process and everything, so that I can get to the relevant bits quickly. All right, let's say in your folder you have some random Google Docs. Okay, this is quite normal for most Google folders. So let's say I have a random 1, 2, 3, and I really type 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to save and close, and I'll have a random 1, 2, 3 file here. What I can do, all right, if I just do the standard Rclone sync, let me open this in terminal. If I do the Rclone sync into the folder, so where do I sync from? I sync from my Google Drive, and where do I sync? YouTube. Okay, so if you actually copied your entire Google Drive folder in here, the convenience is this: you don't need to remember the name exactly. You can just copy and paste from this directory here. So I'll just copy and paste because that's exactly the same as the file structure setup inside my cloud. So I'm syncing from this specific Google Drive folder, YouTube thermal hydraulic heat transfer, blah blah blah, into this folder. And in here, I should have my random123 file. Okay, so let's say that we do that. I'll have a random123.xlsx, xlsx, excuse me. So, right, let's say I do this here, and I make some additions here. 1 to the power of 2 to the power of 3, which is just 1. So I'll just save and close. Okay, and I'll just save and close using LibreOffice. And let's say I want to import these changes up to Google Drive. So let's do that. So what I'm again going to do is I'm going to just sync this file as follows. I'll sync it from the local folder, which is in here. I use dot for a very simple reason. I don't want to type everything out. So rclone sync dot, then I'll sync it to my cloud folder. And I should have an error pop up because it says failed to copy, can't update a Google document. So what was I doing? I was editing this random123 file, which was actually a Google document. So what happens is that, okay, yeah, Rclone does not like us to, does not by default enable editing of Google Drive documents or Google Docs. So Rclone does not deal with Google Docs very well. So there is a process where you will see all these errors over here. So it will say, it cannot copy and everything. So what can you do to get around this if you don't want to deal with Google Docs and waste time, so to speak? Okay, so what you can do is this: rclone sync help. Okay, so this will give you all the stuff you can potentially do with Rclone. So there will be a whole list of things here with respect to Drive, and you can see this command here called drive-skip-gdocs. So by adding the drive-skip-gdocs here, I can actually skip the syncing of Google Docs. So what I do is that I just repeat the last command. I'll put drive-skip-gdocs. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Rclone sync, but I just want to skip the Google Docs file. Okay, so what I do is I just press this, and what you will see in your Google Drive folder, you should see a replica of the random123 file, this time in XLSX and not a Google Docs version. So this, I'm actually skipping the whole syncing with Google Docs. Okay, and that will leave my random123 file here very much intact. So that's an important thing for you to know. If you deal with Google Drive folders, you do need to skip some Google Docs file, and that will actually make it easier for you to do this syncing back and forth. Now let's say I don't want this random123s anymore. Okay, I will make a copy of this file, but I don't want these two original files. Then I'll call this random234. Okay, so I'll have a copy of random234 for whatever reason, but over here I'll have actually the random123 file, right? Okay, so if I don't want to delete this random123 file for whatever reason, okay, and I just want to add this new file here, then you'll need to use a slightly different command. This time it's not called rclone sync, this is called rclone copy. So rclone sync actually deletes all the files that are not relevant. If let's say you delete a file in your local folder and you want to upload it to Google Drive, alright, your local folder and you upload it to Google Drive, you want the folder in Google Drive to be deleted as well, you will use the sync command. Otherwise, you would use, if you don't want to delete anything, you will just use the copy command. Now if I do this, take a look at what happens. So let's say I want to copy random123 up to the cloud without deleting this copy of random234. I'll do this. And if I want to do the reverse, and I want to copy this random234 file, I want to copy the copy of random234 file down to my local folder. Okay, I will just do the reverse, rclone copy, and I will type dot in all the way at the back. Towards the front, I will just say, hey, I want to copy from my cloud folder down to my local folder. So let's see what that does. Okay, and you'll see the copy of random234 appears in your local folder directory. Okay, so you can see that Rclone enables you to copy without deleting some files, and these are the basic commands you will probably use: rclone sync, rclone copy, and of course rclone sync or copy with skipping. You have to skip the GDocs, skip Google Docs. Okay, so I want to delete both of this. Okay, since they are actually just random junk that I'm just using for demonstration purposes. So I want to delete all that random junk. I'll just type this rclone sync drive-skip-gdocs, and I will end up deleting all the random stuff that I made just now. So hopefully this shows you what you can do with Rclone. Okay, if you are dual, you don't need to pay all that money, but if you are familiar with the rclone sync and rclone copy commands, you can do your regular syncing. Nonetheless, you have to do it manually, and you might have to do some skipping of GDocs, Google Docs, if you have Google Docs in your Google Drive folder. The other thing you need to watch out for is definitely you have to think about shared folders. If you have shared folders in your Google Drive file, there are some other steps you can do to circumvent some permissions and deleting, etc. But by and large, you don't really need to worry too much. Okay, you will just need to think about your Rclone. You just think about your Rclone files. Okay, think about your Rclone files and see whether by and large, if you don't deal with shared folders, you just you do your Rclone sync and Rclone copy. If you deal with shared folders, do look at some tutorials online. They will tell you what to do, or you can take a look at some other guides, or you're searching in Google. Probably someone else has the same problem as you. You can go and look it up. So that is it for Rclone and dealing with Google Drive. Okay, so that covers Rclone. But since you are on Linux, there is yet another interesting cloud service you can use. Okay, let's see whether the software manager has it. So let's open up and let's look for Git. Okay, Git is here. So if you ever heard of GitHub before, I think if you use Linux by now, I think you should know GitHub. Especially if you have been watching my OpenFOAM videos, you know I use GitHub a lot. It is actually a very good file service for uploading and downloading code on cloud essentially, and this actually enables you to work with other programmers at work. However, for files less than 100 kilobytes, or 100 megabytes, sorry, for files smaller than 100 megabytes or 50 megabytes even, GitHub is actually a very good place where you can upload some of your code, some of your documents as well, as long as they are not too big. And with that, if you make the repositories private, they can be your own storage file for yourself. Okay, so this is my GitHub. I will skip in the login. You can make your own account, of course. And of course, if you're already familiar with GitHub, you can just skip this whole video. There's nothing else for you to learn if you're already familiar with GitHub. But for the rest, if you're not familiar with GitHub, yeah, this is something that's useful because Google Drive has a limited space, like 15 gigabytes. All right, but if you have many small files and many pieces of code that you want to upload to the cloud, I encourage you to use GitHub. So for example, if you have exam notes or stuff in LaTeX for your documents, put it on GitHub so that I mean you can make the GitHub private for yourself. So when you just start GitHub, if you are new, you just start GitHub. This is the other cloud service I want to introduce to you, GitHub, or GitLab also it works, but GitHub is more mainstream, so to speak. More people use GitHub. Okay, and you'll find many GitHub online, GitHub files online, but the method of using is very similar. So if you're new to GitHub, they will bring you to this page called create a new repository. So I will say maybe this could be a cloud sync. Okay, so I don't want to prop up a palm tree. Cloud sync. Okay, so this is my folder for stuff not on G Drive. Okay, very simple. Create the repository. Okay, and then you will see a bunch of stuff that you may not be so familiar. Okay, don't need to worry. You just go on straight. Just go on straight to here. Okay, just go straight to your repository by clicking on the cloud sync. Okay, never mind. Don't need. What you can do, very simple. Okay, clone this repository into your whatever directory you want. So basically, what are you doing here? Let's see. Let's go to my desktop and let's make a directory. All right, make directory. Oh, I don't even need to make directory. So what I'm doing is that, for example, if this is going to be my cloud folder, which I want to dump some files in there for some LaTeX file or whatever, I can do this. Git clone, and I paste this down. So what this does is actually I'm making an empty folder, my new repository, empty folder inside my desktop. So what I do is, okay, I'll clone. So you have to type in your username and password. Okay, I clone an empty repository. So that's fine, that's what I want. So inside the cloud sync, okay, inside the cloud sync, let's say I want to upload some file there. So let's put this random turbulence modeling file in there. Okay, I'm just going to drag some random file in there. And how do you then upload it to cloud? Okay, if you want to use Git as a cloud storage, you can do it this way. Of course, there's a lot more to learn in Git than Rclone. Git is way more capable than Rclone. All right, but I'll just show you basically what uploading and downloading is like. So let's say I have inside this file a turbulence modeling file. I'll just do git add dot. That means I'm going to select all the files in here. The proper term is called tracking. Okay, I'm going to select all the files in here, and I'm going to add to my local, I'm going to commit the changes. Okay, there's a lot more terminology there that you need to understand if you're new to GitHub. But basically, I will say I'm making a change. When I do git add and git commit, I'm making a change, and I'm going to add some comments to this change. Okay, so I'll say added new file, turb modeling. Okay, added new file, turb modeling. All right, so basically, Git will actually say, okay, I've tracked this new change. What I want to do is I want to push it up. to the cloud folder. So what I do is just press git push origin master, or in future it may be git push origin main, depending on how they change the code. So just do Theodore, it's me, my username and password. So what happens now? Okay, what happens now is that when I reload this, I would have actually this file over here, which is the turbulence modeling ODT, and that's how you upload it. Okay, and of course I can actually make some new code here. Okay, create new file, and I'll just put here. Okay, and I'll just save, commit new file, and I'll have a here. So if I want to sync the files from the cloud, I will just press git pull. So git push actually pushes the changes from your local directory up to your so-called this directory here, the cloud directory. And git pull actually takes the changes from the cloud directory and puts it on your local file. So what do I see here? I see a folder here. So I have a which says So yes. All right. So that's basically how you can use GitHub to do some cloud storage. Okay. So but of course there are limitations for this. With 50 megabytes to 100 megabytes, GitHub may not be so comfortable with you loading up too big a file. Anything above 100 megabytes, anything above 100 megabytes, GitHub will not allow you to upload. So do keep these things in mind when you do upload to GitHub. And there are of course a lot more intricacies with GitHub as compared to Rclone. Okay, there are many tutorials online. Do go and watch them. But GitHub is much more capable than Rclone in terms of storing folders. However, this is just one alternative to Google Drive, and if you're uncomfortable with Google Drive, you like the user interface, I encourage you to use Rclone. This GitHub is just an extra bit for you to get used to, because if you're using Linux and programming, you should know how to learn how to use GitHub. So that's all I have for you. These are just some basic ways of using GitHub and Rclone for cloud services in Linux Mint. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again next time. Bye bye.